And welcome back to the Week of Hoodwink. Today's Hoodwink comes to us from Remen Wookie. I'm saying it that way because it's funny. Wookie. Ask the question, who would win in the fight? Vin Venture from Mistborn versus Magneto, the master of magnetism. Now, keep in mind, anything I know about Vin Ventures is strictly from the wiki because I've never read the Mistborn series. Now, that being said, the Mistborn, apparently, it's a supernatural series. I do know that much. Something in the vein of basically like a Constantine, a Dresden Files kind of story. Now, that being said, in terms of what this character is capable of doing, let me first check out what a Mistborn is really quick. Mistborn are allomancers who gain power from all let me try that one more time. Mistborns are allomancers, so basically alloymancers, metal manipulators, who gain power from all allomatic metals, and are some of the most powerful characters in the Mistborn series. Mistborns were created when Reshek condensed the power of preservation into the metal Leshirium. Okay, anyway. Okay, this is literally all in-lore words and stuff. I get it. So basically, they gain powers from certain metals. Vin is a Mistborn of great power and skill. She can... I hate when the ads get in the way here. Especially because I'm trying to read. Alright then. A Mistborn of great power. She can pierce copper clouds through the usage of the earring she got from her mother. Hemalurgical skill. Hemalurgical is a third magicism used a metal spike. The use of a metal spike driven through someone's heart. Then the spike is taken and stabbed into the body of another person. The location is determines the power transferred. Interesting. Don't get me wrong, this all actually sounds really interesting. With hemalurgically increases. Stop moving around. Jesus. Most of these wikis are pretty good in terms of their layout, but for some reason they just keep jumping everywhere from ad to ad. It's just so irritating. Which hemalurgically increases her abilities to sense other allomancers. She has great skill with other metals. She can make use of duralumin, basically a fancy metal in that world, to control Colossus, Cadra, and potentially steel inquisitors. Although due to the ruins influence, this is never possible. As Preservation's chosen successor, she can draw power from the mists and use them to kill the Lord Ruler, and later defeat 13 steel inquisitors. She can only do this, however, when she's not wearing the earring, as Ruin is able to block her connection to the mist thanks to the earring's hemalurgic properties. Vin is more powerful than most Mistborns, coming from a pure lineage, although pure generation Mistborns, such as the Lord Ruler, and for functional purposes, Ellen, have greater raw power. She can push and pull on metals and soothe and riot with high degree of power. She has great control of iron pulls, steel pushes, using horseshoes to fly forward indefinitely. She can defeat Ham, a trained thug, using only power, and is able to win many fights in this manner. In addition to her allomatic ability, she has great resourcefulness and cunning, attributes gained from her time on the street. She has a strong sense for danger, able to read and battle situations quickly, such as when she defeated Ketzak assassins, and someone's demonstrated a willingness to try innovative battle techniques, such as turning off her ultim eerily to lull Sean into fatal overconfidence, as well as when she defeated Zane. She's thought to be the hero of ages, but it's eventually revealed she's not, while Tao's common, blah, 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 blah. So she's a very powerful, again, allomancer, if you will, a metal manipulator. Going up against Magneto. Magneto obviously is most famous for being able to manipulate metal. But Magneto's power isn't to manipulate metal. As most people know, he's the master not of metal, but of magnetism. He doesn't manipulate metal, he manipulates electromagnetic fields. To the point where he's actually capable of... is it ferrous metals is the term? Point being, there's only so many metals on the planet Earth that are actually magnetic. But his magnetic capabilities are so great, he can magnetize non-magnetic objects, including non-magnetic metals, hell, wood, even though that is somewhat more insulating, humans, things along those lines. He can, hence why he's able to fly, because he's manipulating the electromagnetic spectrum, allowing himself to float and hover in the midair. He can create a force field that's very difficult to breach if you don't have energy manipulation capabilities. He can actually pull the iron out of someone's blood. Keep in mind, like when you see it in X2, because that is where we actually see it in like in legitimate medias. Apart from like the comics. There had to be a lot of iron in his blood for that to work. More than likely, an excess of iron is probably what's required for that to be extremely effective. That said, it's still probably possible he could focus hard enough to do that. He's actually moved a giant metal, I think it was like a bullet or something like that, or gun, got like solar systems away on a different planet. He spoke. Granted, that took a serious amount of concentration effort and it was pushing him to his limit, but he still did it. He's actually capable of, he's capable of creating a minor force field so individuals like Rogue can't touch him. That's actually how he was able to have a relationship with Rogue in one of the comics. But he's also capable of manipulating your own personal electromagnetic spectrum, which can affect your mentality. It's how he killed Apocalypse. He literally tore his central nervous system to bits, just pulling it out of his skull in a comic. Magneto is no joke. He's got decades of experience under his belt. He's a master strategist too, master manipulator, very cunning, very charming. But there is some, like, his powers don't work very well underwater because water shorts out like electro anything. It shorts out electricity. That being said, you can get electrified and all that, but he can't create a bubble underwater to the best of my knowledge. He can actually create one in space because of the lack of atmosphere, but he can't do it in the water as far as I know. Granted, he can still manipulate metal that is in the water, but he can't, like that force field doesn't work in the water. His powers, I think, still work, it's just they are limited. But he's also, from what I remember, his powers are actually tied to his physical ability, like his physical state. If he is injured, his powers will significantly injure him, like a cut or anything. That's not going to do anything. But if he's like seriously injured, his powers start to waver to a certain degree. It's not that he doesn't have his powers still; it's that they are, they do start to. They're harder. The difficulty of control is greater. Is what I'm trying to get at. Still, Eric Lencher, or Max, is apparently he's actually known as. Apparently, yeah, that's our new thing for him. His name actually isn't Eric Lencher. I believe it's Max something, and he changed it. What was the point of that? I'm sorry. He's always going to be Eric Lencher. I'm sorry. I still got sleepy seeds in my eye, even though I've been awake now for several hours. I'm like, I still got sleepies in my eye. So, who wins in this fight? Well, I think it's actually, to me, pretty obvious who wins in this fight. Even though Vin clearly has a lot of, like, powers and abilities. And I'm actually going to look up, let's see, Copper Clouds. I'm just looking up all the things that I've seen. Mistborn, Copper Clouds, no, it went to Mistborn again. I wanted Copper Clouds, not Mistborn. This actually looks like a book series I wouldn't mind reading. And not that I'm against books, right? Actually, I read a book every now and then. I'm reading currently I have the first 2 volumes, waiting for the third to come out of Camp for Your Own World. So I do enjoy reading. I just don't read books very often. I'm too much of an online spectrum guy now. Why does it keep going to this when I press Mistborn when I press Copper Clouds? So let me see. Okay. She pierced Copper Cloud. Okay. Copper Clouds? You mother... Stop moving. So irritating. So annoying. To do my Yori Karasuchi voice. My girlfriend always just like, do the voice. And say, oh, Nemu, why? Oh, my dear darling, why must you be so annoying? But I'm not doing it. When I do a Mayuri video, I'll get more into the Mayuri voice. Yeah, it keeps. Okay, are copper clouds like listed in here for some reason? No. So why does it keep doing that when I don't want to be dealing with? Oh, whatever. Anyway, she appears copper clouds. Blah 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 blah. Steel. What is Duralumin? Duralumin. Duralumin is a Mistborn that burns Duralum causes a reaction. The exact degree of which Duralumin enhances the next metal burned is unknown. Okay, so it's apparently like a metal that enhances other metals. That's interesting. Point being, though, is that her abilities come through the usage of magic to some degree. I mean, it's Mancy is magic. Let's be clear. The mists, other items. Magneto doesn't need any of that, and he can manipulate non-magnetic metals, so it doesn't really matter. In the sense of what metals she throws out there. If she can try to manipulate metals he's controlling, that's great, but I don't think she can. And for the very specific reason that there's only so many metals available and only so much metal that you can control at one given space. And really, it's just going to be a matter of whose control overpowers who. Her control is more definitive, Magneto's control is more definitive, while hers is more conditional. I think that's the best way to put it. He has pretty much, he is the master of magnetism. He's called the master of magnetism for a reason. So these two will start trying to duke it out. She'll just start throwing metal at him. He'll just be like, that is adorable. Now let me show you what true master of magnetism is. And he just starts throwing it at her. Now she's probably able to avoid it for a while. But then again, he could just yank the earring probably right off her. And then that's gone. But she still has powers beyond that. So if she throws, if she throws anything out, he's just gonna, magnetic shield, all that, and he could just bind her in a metal casing or whatever. Maybe she could try to get out of that. Worst case scenario for her, he literally rips what iron is in her body out of her body. Now that probably actually wouldn't be an instant kill, by the way. Just because you'd be completely without iron doesn't mean you would die instantly. It's more that you're basically going to be what's the term? Anemic? No, anemic is is blood. Low iron that's not anemia. I can't remember. Maybe it isn't being anemic. I can't remember what the condition for low iron is. Either way, it wouldn't be an instant death, but you would need medical treatment immediately. Of course, then again, she would still also feel, the effects of the iron literally being torn out of her body, bleeding profusely, certainly, and think words here, and the effects of I think it's anemia. Anemia kicking in very quickly. So she wouldn't be much use in the fight still. Is it possible she could get a win on Magneto? In theory, if he's not expecting her to have the same type of power set he does to some degree, metal manipulation in this case, and provided that the metals that she uses normally aren't magnetic by nature, then she could, in theory, get a win by, hitting him from behind, skiing a sneak attack off. But that's assuming that he doesn't sense that coming, and he doesn't have his magnetic field up. So, I mean, there's a scenario there where she probably could win, but it's out of 100, maybe 5 or 10 at most. So, ultimately, this is just a long-winded way of me saying, yeah, Magneto, I think, owns this character in a fight. At least from what I can find on the character. Keep that in mind. I don't read this series. I'm only going by the information on this character that I can find. So, if you know more about this character than I do, which I'm sure there's a lot of people who do, and know the full extent of her powers, and know that, Oh, if her and Magneto really wanted to fight, despite everything you know, let's also be clear. Don't fanboy or fangirl that response. He is like, oh, she could totally do this. Magneto has the same chance. Like, take in consideration what Magneto's capable of doing too. But if you legitimately think she would beat him in a fight, let me know in the comments below. But until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. Ideas for who would win, Star Wars, superhero, magic, what if, anything I do on this channel, put that in the comments below. Let me know. I'll get to a review of it at some point. Hit that bell if you want to be notified. And I'll be back a little later with the magic video of the day. So later, folks.